Good afternoon, YouTubers, or evening, depending on the way you look at things, because it is 5:06 p.m. Monday, September 21st, 2020, of course. As I come at you, the Astros play here in about 3 hours, so we'll be watching them, of course. They did exactly what they needed to do over the weekend, so talked about taking these series. Easy part of the schedule. They take 2 of 3 at home against the Rangers. Winning the first and the rubber match, so losing the middle game there, but taking 2 of 3 nonetheless, and then taking again 2 of 3 from the Arizona Diamondbacks, losing the opener, but winning the second and third game in that series. So the Astros had 3 sort of pressure games, so to speak, because when you lose, a game in the series and you're worried about winning that series, obviously you have to win. So the Astros had that rubber match against the Rangers. They win that one, and then losing on Friday to the Diamondbacks, having to win 2 straight, they were able to do it. So, these wins haven't been convincing, to say the least. They've squeaked by. They're not scoring a lot of runs. Pitching's doing an okay job. I feel like it's been like this the entire year. It's like, the pitching's doing well, but the offense really isn't pulling their weight, and then if the offense is doing well, then the pitching really isn't pulling their weight. So it's just can't really get everything clicking at the same time, it sort of feels like. But the Astros are sitting here in good spot to make the postseason. If this was any other year, they'd be dead and buried and eliminated by now. But this is a weird 60 game, and you got 16 teams making it. So that's just where we stand right now with the Astros and how things are sort of going. They do play the Seattle Mariners, like I said, tonight, here in about 3 hours for 3 games. And then they go to Texas and play Texas for 4 up there in Arlington. So 7 more games to go this year. I talked about a record at 33-27, looking at sort of like that as a reasonable season finish to go into the playoffs with. But the Astros, to me, and I just thought about this recently, if they take 2 of 3 here in Seattle, they currently lead them by 4 games. If they take 2 of 3, that would give them a 5-game lead. With 4 left to play, that Texas series wouldn't really matter a whole lot. So they might sort of rest some people and try to set up their rotation for a 3-game set. So the 33-27 probably won't matter to them as much as trying to set things up. They would have to basically go. I think my math was wrong last week. I don't know where I went wrong, but I talked about winning each series should put them at 33-27, but as I looked at the standings and looked at the record, they actually would have to win 6 of 7 this week to actually reach that mark, as they're 28-27. No, I'm off somewhere. I think they're 28-26, or 27-20, or 27-26. I think that's what their record is. So yes, winning 6 of 7 is what they'd have to do. But again, if they take 2 or 3 here, they'll probably not really care a whole lot about that Ranger series. But they're lined up to play the Oakland A's, unless something, it could still change, obviously, but Oakland obviously has dominated us this year, especially at the Coliseum in Oakland. We've only beaten them 3 games. We lost 7 of 10, but the two of the 3 we won were actually at Minute Maid Park, and our 3-game series would be on the road at the Coliseum. So, the only thing, bad news, really bad news, is Verlander will have Tommy John surgery. So the thought of him possibly being back for the postseason is obviously off the table now. And I think I've said this in the past, the Astros really don't have a chance without Verlander to really do much of anything this year. So the whole World Series, trying to get back, trying to finally win it, finally win it legitimately, is sort of off the table, at least in my opinion. You're leaning on what Zach Greinke and Lance McCullers, and Jose Urquidy's look good, so he would be a guy I think that would definitely fit into the scenario. And all 3 games, by the way, will be on the road. And we know how Lance McCullers is on the road, so there's not a lot of faith there. In fact, tonight he actually starts in Seattle. The only way I actually see the Astros winning this game is if they score 6 or 7 runs, because Lance implodes and craps the bed on the road every single time. There's no reason to think this would be any different. But, that's why you play the games, right? So we'll see how things sort of shake out tonight. But the Astros offense needs to get it going. They scored 4 runs in the first game against Texas, winning in that 4-1. They lost game 2 1-0, and they won game 3. I want to say 3-1 or 2-1, or we'll look at it in a minute here. And then they score 3 runs in each game of the Arizona series, losing 6-3, winning 3-2 and 3-2 in Saturday and Sunday's games. So I will give them credit in Saturday and Sunday because they were down 2-0 in both those games and fought back and found a way to win both those. But the offense really, as a whole, hasn't been doing a whole lot. So they'll definitely need to step up their game if they're going to beat the A's. The A's, I look at them right now, and I don't see how we could beat them 2 out of 3, but the A's have been known to sort of choke in the postseason as they played a number of Game 5s. I'm a big Moneyball fan. Watched that movie like 5 to 10 times. But we sort of know their playoff history and what they do. Of course, in division series, this is a weird sort of 3-game set to move to the divisional series. So I guess it's different. The A's have actually surprised me in the way they've played this year. The last 2 years they've won 97, 98 games, I think, in consecutive years. But like I've said numerous times, they've been a second-half team. They really get things going, and they pull together in the second half of seasons. They came out pretty good this year, led the division from the start, and they've held that lead. And it's pretty substantial. It's 6 or 7 games now, so they're already in. They've clinched. A bunch of teams have clinched already, so obviously the Dodgers, I think, were the first team to clinch. The Padres have clinched. The White Sox have clinched. I'm sure the Rays have clinched. The Rays are a team in the American League that looks like they'll be tough to beat. The Yankees are there, and they just got hot after being terrible for so long. But they'll be in. They'll be in it. I think you got 4 teams coming out of the Central, if I can think of this correctly. I believe the Twins, the Indians, the Rays. Not the Rays. You got the Indians, you got the Twins, you got the White Sox. I guess it's only 3 there because you got the Royals and you got the Tigers, who obviously aren't making it. So you got 2. So I think the Blue Jays, I think that's right. I think the Blue Jays are going to be in the mix there because you'll have 3 teams in the Central, 3 teams in the East, and then the A's and Astros in the West. That'll wrap up your 8 teams. And yeah, so you'll have the first and second place teams, and then your 2 third place, or it'll be third place, obviously. That will be, I don't know who's third in the Central, but obviously it's the Blue Jays, I think. I'll look at these standings here in a minute. My phone, I think, is fixed. I went to the mall and fixed it last week, so I think the phone should work pretty well now. So we'll look at this here in just a sec. We'll look at it right now. So I don't know if it'll load, but I don't know. We'll see. So and something else, I just actually looked at an update here. The playoffs, I take that back, won't be at the Coliseum. The Astros actually benefits them, because I wouldn't want to play at the Coliseum. But we're going to have neutral site playoff games. So Minute Maid Park is one of those sites. The Astros would not be playing there. They would play... I don't know if I can find this on this ESPN app. If I look around, I don't want to waste time and try to stall for time as I look around for this. But I believe Dodger Stadium and Petco Park are the two sites for... I wonder if I could, how far I could pull forward here. Because I have a calendar on this app here. And they won't even really, I guess, tell me. So anyway, I'll be able to give you a more straightforward answer when I talk to you next week. But the Petco Park and Dodger Stadium, I believe, will host... They might... This is interesting. Because then Minute Maid Park and Globe Life Field are the two... The four parks that will be played at in the playoffs will be Dodger Stadium, Petco Park, Globe Life Field, and Minute Maid Park. So we'll wait and see who plays where. I do not think the Astros play at Minute Maid Park. I don't think they do. So, yeah, it'll be somewhere. If they play the A's, I think it would be at either Petco or Dodger Stadium. So we just sort of have to wait and see. But that was one thing that got approved. So obviously, what they're trying to do is just sort of keep people sort of isolated in one spot, because you'd hate for a team to have a coronavirus outbreak and then sort of ruin their season if enough players got it. And they can't really afford to. Every time there's been an outbreak with the team, they've sort of canceled their games for like a 5-7 day stretch, and you really can't do that in the postseason. So that's why they're trying to do this here. But anyway, so the Astros, I mean, the only real big news, everybody's back. Altuve's back. Everybody's back. It's just Verlander who's having Tommy John, and that not only takes him out for the remainder of this year, but all of next year as well. So he's probably done as an Astro, maybe done as a Major League Baseball player, because he might retire. I don't know. So we'll wait and see with Verlander, but his contract will be up by the end of next year. So he's probably gone for good. Osuna is probably gone for good. Both of them need Tommy John, so you won't see them at all even all of next year. So that's the way it will sort of be. And they got a lot of free agents. It'll be an interesting offseason to see if they can pull some strings. James Click, for the first time, will actually have some pressure on him to find a way to sort of re-sign some players, possibly a Michael Brantley, possibly a George Springer. Carlos Correa still will be looking for a big-time contract. Correa actually fouled a ball off his ankle or something like that on Monday or Tuesday, and he couldn't even walk off the field. Like, he was helped off the field, and he was back in the lineup the day after, which was crazy. I thought Correa was done for the year, but I guess it's okay to keep him around. But yeah, I mean, no real news. I mean, I'll go through these games briefly, I guess. There's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, I sort of already broke things down for you here. But this series, they got to win 2 or 3. If they win 2 or 3, they're locked in to the 2 seeds. So the Ranger series really isn't going to matter a whole lot. It'll just be this one. But to go back, like I said, so they had the off day Monday. Tuesday they went 4-1. I want to say there was a home run. Has this phone that I thought was fixed doesn't want to work. So we go back and we do this the old-fashioned way. And it still needs to load. So we sit here in this awkward sort of, not silence because I'm still talking, but here we go. So Urquidy got the win, pitched very well. The Astros were actually tied. It was tied 1-1. Springer hit a leadoff home run in the first inning to get on the board. They tied it later on in the game, and then we scored Every time I click anything on this app, it just takes forever. This app is terrible. But Ronald Guzman of the Rangers tied it with an RBI single. Bregman hit a two-run single. And Maldonado hit a home run to win that game 4-1. Urquidy gets the win. He goes 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 7, walked nobody. Brooks Raley got a scoreless inning in, and then Presley got the save. He allowed a hit, but struck out a batter. ERA, that is Presley's 10th save of the year. His ERA is at 3.63, so not terrible. Brooks Raley got his 5th hold of the year. His ERA is at 5.82, so I don't really need to say much about that. That's his ERA. And Urquidy, like I said, down to 2.70, so and he gets his first win of the year there, 1-1 for Urquidy, although wins, losses at this point really don't matter to me. But winning the game 4-1, they lose game 2, 1-0. They absolutely stunk in this game. Only got 4 hits. Kyle Gibson threw a complete game. A shame for our losing. Well, Presley lost the game because he gave up a run in the 9th inning. And our starting pitcher in this game was, I want to say, Lance McCullers. It was 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 8 strikeouts, no walks. That's who Lance McCullers is at home. He's incredible. On the road, he's like the opposite. So that's who Lance is. Josh James came in, gave up a hit, struck out 2. I feel like Dusty Baker has used Josh James a lot lately, which is not really... I don't feel comfortable with him in games, but he has used him. And Blake Taylor, who I said last week has not been used a lot. He actually was on the IL. I guess I just sort of missed that. He's back now, but he was on the IL for a little bit there. So, but Blake Taylor and Andre Scrub and Eoli Paredes, I've said this all year, are the 3 guys to sort of bridge the gap to Presley when you get into those late innings with a tie game or a small lead. So, but yeah, James got in a scoreless inning. Presley got 2 outs, but allowed that earned run, walked a batter, gave up a hit, and then Paredes got the final out. Presley's ERA goes up to 4, just 4.00. Paredes goes down to 3.18. Josh James at 9.22. That was like at 27 after his first 2 starts, and he's been trying to work that down ever since. And McCullers at 4.87. So, I mean, if he pitched all his games at home, his ERA would be under 1 right now, but unfortunately he doesn't do that. So, but you lost the game. And then Thursday, come back and win it. So that was nice to get the win, to win the series, as I've mentioned. So we're sort of waiting as this loads. Here we go. Framber Valdez bounces back, gets the win. So he had a few rough outings, but he bounced back and he's got the ERA back under 4 at 3.82, 4-3 in the year. Brooks Raley actually gets the save in this game. Surprising, but he got the save, his first of the year. But ERA for Raley at 5.50. Josh James once again bridged the gap there, pitching an inning and 2/3. So Framber Valdez went 6 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 11, walked 1. So he's been racking up the strikeouts this year, Framber Valdez. Josh James goes an inning and 2/3, gets his 3rd hold, strikes out 3, gives up a hit, ERA down to 8.22. Raley gets the save, striking out a batter. No hits, no walks, 5.50 for him, but just good to get the series win there. Friday was not a very good game. Zach Greinke, I believe. Well, no. They lose at 6-3, and they actually had a lead of, well, they were up 2-0, and then they allowed a 3-run 4th, and we're down 3-2. They tied it at 3 in the 5th, but gave up 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. But Greinke only went 5 innings, giving up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, Struck out 9, didn't walk a batter. ERA for him is at 3.90. Luis Garcia, guy back out of the rotation, still in the bullpen there. Goes an inning and a third, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, so he wasn't very good. But ERA is still actually at 2.53 because he hasn't pitched a whole lot. Blake Taylor got in an inning, but he gave up a run of his own. ERA at 2.50, and then Andre Scrub goes an inning and 2/3. Allows a hit, strikes out 2, 1.35 ERA for Scrub. So Blake Taylor not as dominant as he was first few weeks, month or so of the year. There's something on the ground here. I have no idea what this is. I have no idea what that is. But, yeah, Blake Taylor has fallen off a little. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he can get things together. But they lose the game 6-3, so they're just not scoring, really. And they really have no excuses because everybody is healthy now in the lineup. So Saturday, like I said, they were down 2-0, but came back and won it 3-2. Let's see. So Altuve had an RBI double. That was to bring them within 1 or to tie the game. I think he tied the game on that double. If I can go to the summary here. So, yeah, he tied it on the double. And Kyle Tucker had an RBI single to give him the lead after Altuve grounded. RBI ground out for him. RBI fielder's choice. But getting the win there, coming back. Paredes gets the win. Your pitching line there. Who started this game? Was Christian Javier, who was out of the rotation but now back in, and he'll be in with the injury to Verlander. Only goes 4 innings, but 4 hits, 2 earned runs, ERA at 3.33. Paredes goes 2 full innings, scoreless baseball. Josh James another hold, walked a batter but worked around it. Brooks Raley gets a hold. He walks a batter, strikes out 2, and then Presley gets his 11th save and brings his ERA back under 4. So Paredes with an ERA now under 3 at 2.84. Josh James down to 7.71. And Brooks Raley, I feel like you see a lot of Josh James and Brooks Raley this past week. But Raley lowers his ERA to 5.21. So I don't know. Maybe Dusty Baker has faith in Josh James and Brooks Raley. But they've pitched a lot this week, it seems. So, anyway, winning that game, coming back 3-2 yesterday, down 2-0 again. Springer had 2 home runs. He had an inside the park home run in the 6th, and then a solo shot in the 7th, and a sac fly by Correa in the 8th, scored their 3 runs. Blake Taylor gets the win in relief here. Urquidy, I want to say, started this game, and once again was pretty good. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. He gets the no decision, but ERA at 2.78. Andre Scrub pitches an inning in the 3rd. Blake Taylor gets 2 outs, and then Presley gets his 12th save. So Presley's sort of starting to hopefully get more consistent here with his saves, but he's racked up 12 saves and about 16 or so opportunities, I want to say. I don't know the exact number there, but yeah, that's where Ryan Presley is, and you sort of see the bullpen and Dusty Baker giving a lot more opportunities to Josh James in high leverage situations. Brooks Raley. Paredes you'll see, Scrub you'll see. So you'll see a lot of people, not necessarily amazing options, but the best you really got to work with. So, but anyway, so yeah, as I hear the rain out my window, as we have a tropical storm rolling in, that's Beta. That's the name, Beta, Tropical Storm Beta. So it's going to bring a lot of rain. Sort of off topic, just thought I'd throw that out there. But there's that. But the Astros, yeah, play tonight. It'll be very interesting with Lance McCullers on the mound, on the road. So, but again, winning 2 of 3 is the key here, and if they can do that, then it really doesn't matter what they do in the Texas series. But trying to think here if I really left out the injuries. I mean, like I said, it's just Verlander and Osuna. Everybody else is pretty much healthy from a lineup standpoint. The Astros got to start scoring more runs, and they've had opportunities. They just can't seem to hit when it really matters the most. So we'll wait and see for that. But when I think about a playoff rotation, obviously you got to, Greinke's probably your 1A at this point, just simply because he's got the experience. He's been there before. He's done it. Who knows what happens if A.J. Hinch doesn't take him out of Game 7 of the World Series. Who knows what happens, but he's probably your 1A. And then you're sort of, McCullers is going to have a chance to show that he can pitch on the road. If he really implodes again tonight, I wouldn't use him in a 3-game set anywhere other than Minute Maid Park, and it's not going to be at Minute Maid Park, so I wouldn't use him. And I'd probably use Urquidy. Urquidy's earned a spot to start in one of these games, so Urquidy will definitely have a spot. The big question mark is next to Lance McCullers' name. And then from there, who do you go with? You have Christian Javier. A third spot, it's probably going to be McCullers. There's no faith there. And if you're going to use McCullers, you have to have a super, super short leash on him. And you got to go get him. If he runs the first sign of trouble for him, you'd have to go run out there and go get him quickly. So sort of piece this thing together. But if they can win 2 of 3, they'll find themselves in the playoffs. But yeah, a 500 record at this point will get them in. But I would probably, depending on what happens in this Seattle series, I'd probably see them winning 30, 31, maybe 32 games. So they'll probably be they'll probably be a game or two over 500. I'll probably give them that. And then you'll roll into the postseason. And for the Astros and how up and down this year has been with all the injuries and just the weirdness of playing 7-inning doubleheaders and playing these weird start times and just everything that's gone on this year, getting into the playoffs, not limping in, but barely getting in, I think will be enough to sort of, when you get to the playoffs, sort of hit the reset button and say, all right, it's a new season. Let's go out. People hate us. We don't care. We're starting a season, basically, over again. And we got to win 2 or 3 to advance. It's that simple. So that'll be the goal. But when I talk to you next time, obviously we'll be talking about the playoffs unless there's some catastrophic failure down the stretch here. I'm thinking Seattle's looking at the series like they got to sweep it because being 4 back, their only chance is to probably sweep us. And if they do sweep us, we're in big trouble. So winning 2 or 3 would still give them a 3-game lead, which I don't see the Astros. I don't see a way where they don't make the postseason. So next time I talk to you, we'll probably be talking about that. So we'll get to that. I'll wrap things up here. And we'll talk to you either next Sunday, Monday, and we'll be talking about the playoffs. So yeah, we'll shut things down for now. Hit that like button below, leave the comment, share this with your friends, all that good stuff on YouTube I like, and obviously we'll respond to comments if warranted, all the good stuff. But yeah, I'll talk to you in about a week, and we'll see you then.